One thing that all of my favorite teachers, coaches, and just generally people that I look up to have in common is that when I was learning from them, getting soaked up in their wisdom, their teachings, getting passed down their wisdom and knowledge, was whenever that happened, they never made me feel like they're above me. They always made me feel, at the end of the day, like they're a friend sitting next to me, holding my hand and guiding me through that door, through that threshold that I wanted to go to, even though clearly they were in a position of more power, more knowledge, and more wisdom than I had at that time, and yet they never made me feel like they're superior towards me. They made me feel like I'm more human. And this is a big question for this upcoming solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. Hello everyone, I'm Amia from Resonance Astrology. I'm greeting you today with my sun crown that is huge, so huge that it's not even fitting in the entire screen, but it just felt fitting wearing that today as we have that solar eclipse upcoming in the sign of Leo, because this one is a big theme around leadership, self-leadership, but also who are you following? Who are we putting in these positions of leadership? Of who are we pedestaling in these positions? Sometimes people naturally just fall into these positions, but it's really also up to us, to the community. That's that North Node in Aquarius. It's the people at the end of the day that also really, really infuse someone or make the circumstances happen that somebody is able to be held in that position. Now, I'm not just specifically talking about governments here, so please don't make it a political discussion. Yes, it is also happening there, but I like to keep this channel more archetypal based. So take this from an archetypal level also in your real life. Because actually, really what I always want to come back to is that these archetypes are also playing out in your real life. And you have also been teaching or studying under certain people, schools you visited, universities that you visited, or just generally people that you've looked up to, coaches you worked with. Who are these people? Why did you trust them specifically? What made you take out your wallet and be like, take my money, shut up and take my money. I trust you. What is that? That is something that I have been asking myself recently over these coming days. And one thing, again, that I found that all of these people have in common is that they did something, they lived through something, they're embodying something where I want to go. And I trust them because I know that they have the life experience that I am seeking and that they can guide me through that. I'm an incredibly discerning person, and discernment is definitely something that we are lacking in today's day and age in society, but I will say that probably people that are watching this channel are people that are very discerning. So I'm not gonna hold a whole soapbox opera here around what discernment is and what you gotta do, because I generally trust all of you guys. You probably even found me because I'm a freaking discerning person, okay? And probably one of the reasons that you trust me is because you trust that I am a discerning person, that the things that I would recommend you come from a place where I carefully looked at it, observed, how is this impacting me? Is this actually useful? And because I am that type of person, immediately you have a bigger sense of trust to me when I recommend you something because you trust my judgment. That is probably the same reason, and also the same reason for me, really, why I trusted these certain people, because I trusted their discernment. I trust that what they have to say brings value into my life. I don't like working with people or with coaches or teaching under people that make me feel like they're in a superior position and where I don't have my own self-knowledge that I bring to the table or that just because they somehow have this specific diploma that they're like the know-it-all and you should never question their authority. Absolutely the fuck not. We are having that North Node in Aquarius, and I'm saying this because really during that eclipse season, both of them get activated. We have that South Node in Leo and that North Node in Aquarius. North Node has to do with increase and South Node has to do with increase. So when we have that solar eclipse in Leo and that sun energy that is very strong, it's a domicile Leo, right? The sun is in its home sign in the sign of Leo, is getting eclipsed. So there is a different relationship that we have to build towards that archetype of the sun, which has to do with self-leadership, which has to do with our ego, with our purpose, with our drive, where we're heading to, the path that we are seeing for ourselves in life. That is getting eclipsed, and it's at South Node. So it is about letting go and rethinking something. And we are really changing our relationship towards light, towards who we are following. It's so easy to be a moth to the flame, but you gotta know what that flame is that you are following. Are you just blindly following, or are you discerning? That is a very, very key question. And that North Node in Aquarius is pulling us into that realm of realizing, hey, yeah, who I follow, who I pedestal, who I teach, who I study from, but also the way I'm teaching, that is very impactful. For me, this really is the axis of realizing, hey, you as an individual are so powerful that every decision you make impacts the collective. Where you spend your energy on, where you spend your money on, where you spend your time on, that is so valuable that it changes trajectories. And who is it that is benefiting from them? Who do you want to benefit from your time, money, and energy? That's a discernment that we need to be taking. And when we are blinded by the light, it can be hard to do that. But the light, the most powerful light in the universe that is coming from the sun, when it's in domicile in Leo, is getting eclipsed. There's a brief moment and period in time where that powerful light is getting eclipsed. And so if we are like moths in that flame following that light, and all of a sudden it just vanishes, maybe for the first time we can actually see what is it that is behind that light. What is the essence that we have been following all along? What is that path that we thought we should be following that maybe is not the right path, actually, at all? And we were just blinded by the light to fully see it. Isn't it so interesting? The light reveals things, and at the same time it can blind us so much that at the same time it almost feels like it conceals things. Not that it's hiding things from us, but it can just sometimes be so bright that we cannot see the essence for what it is. That we can maybe not see ourselves for what we actually are. Or other people. And I'm not saying this is this big moment where, although it certainly can be, it certainly can be such a moment where I would not be surprised if certain leaders in high positions get a whole like expose on them where people are like, oh, I thought it was that type of person, but actually you're a completely different type of person. And I was just blinded by the light following you that I didn't realize who you actually are. And I'm not saying that in some sort of like, whoa, you're actually a monster type of way. It doesn't have to be that extreme, although obviously it can be. At the end of the day, you know, both Leo and Aquarius are fixed sign. They can be rigid in its own ways. And I'm not saying that the North Node in Aquarius is the solution. It's not. It can be equally be a trap. The trap of the North Node in Aquarius can equally be like, oh, I have an ideology that is so much better. And if you're not following that ideology, like you're outside of the club too. Like they're both equally as performative in different ways. Let's just be very, very clear on that. The North Node in Aquarius is not our saving grace. And the South Node in Leo is not just what we need to move away from. It's what we need to rethink very deeply. And that North Node in Aquarius is just the entry point of where the focus should be lying. but it can equally go into extremes. It can equally go into a different type of extreme. At the end of the day, both of them need to make us realize that we are flawed human beings. And my favorite teachers, they never made me feel like, when you teach under me, you're gonna become some sort of immortal god because now you have astrology knowledge, or now you have this type of knowledge, and now you can use it to get more sales, and now you can use it to feel superior or better than some people. No, they just made me feel like it's okay to be a flawed human being. And that is what I also try to pass down myself. I hope that when you come on this channel, when you watch me, that you feel more okay being an imperfect, but also perfect, flawed human being. Seriously. If there's any sort of mission that Resonance Astrology has, it's that. Hands down. And if you ever would come to reading with me, I would never try to make you feel like I'm above you and that I somehow, like, sure, I speak the language of the stars and I have more knowledge maybe than you in that subject, but you hold the knowledge of your life, and you sharing your wisdom makes it easier for me to weave it together. Like, I'm just a weaver here. I'm just weaving things together. And so, what are the types of people that you want to follow, that you want to listen to, that you want to give your energy to? That's incredibly important. Like, your decision is that important because it's going to uplift certain channels and diminish some others. Your watch time matters so much is what I'm trying to say. And even just your Instagram algorithm, like, it's so easy on Instagram and on social media in general. And that's a bit of the fault lines of Aquarius as well here, because Aquarius rules over the internet. When Saturn was in Aquarius, not that last time in 2020, but like before that, is when the internet was born. So Aquarius is deeply rooted in the internet. And a big flaw of the internet is that it dehumanizes us. Because even right now, I'm talking to you on the screen. I have no idea what your reaction is behind that screen. You're having a parasocial relationship with me at this point if you're checking out my videos every week. And I'm not even sitting here and saying that this is a bad thing. It just became very normalized. I have parasocial relationships as well with certain people that I watch on YouTube. It's just like it became a thing. People used to have that before too, with book authors, with radio hosts. So now it just became more normal to have parasocial relationships. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. You just have to be conscious about it, that that's what's happening. And so what can happen on social media, it becomes like a dehumanization. And that's like the fault lines of Aquarius, because Aquarius is very good at detachment, and it can detach from being human entirely. There's a saying that goes that Aquarius loves humanity but hates being human. That's exactly that reason. It's a detachment from the human body and the human vessel. And on social media, and we're like in the fixed area, both Leo and Aquarius are fixed signs. There's something incredibly rigid about both of them. And with Aquarius, it's air, so it's fixed thinking, fixed ideologies. And you know what's so easy to do on social media is to land in your bubble, your fixed ideology bubble. I love social media. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that social media is evil. As always, I always think it's a question of who's using it and how you're using it. Again, who are you putting in that position of leadership? But the big fault of that is that, yes, you can be stuck in your own bubble, in your own thinking bubble, and people just like, preaching to the choir, essentially. And you feel like you're going somewhere, but you're actually not. Because you realize as soon as I step out of these bubbles and out of these communities and I go out in real life and I talk to other people, connecting gets really hard because people are flawed human beings and people think differently, and we are going into an era where these skills to have hard conversations and have people thinking differently without constantly just landing in the realm of, projection, and it's all about me, and it's all coming from me, and if you disagree with me, it means this and this and this, and you're probably just projecting, and I'm just your mirror. Like, that's when we end in a very sticky and icky territory. I will say that, because if we want to go to that good part of the age of Aquarius, ideally that's what we have: difficult conversations, rupture, like conflict resolution after rupture. Because I feel like we're really moving away from influencer culture, because quite frankly, I think people are getting sick and tired of caring about people that are flaunting their luxury and the way that they can constantly fly first class, and that they are yet again going to this luxury resort when most of that, let's be honest, and I love that certain people have been doing that. I love the trend where people have been talking about how not everything on social media is as it seems, and being really honest that so much of it is a lie. So much of it is a lie, and it's actually so much about having the right connections. So much of it is having these brand deals. And sometimes it's just so freaking superficial. Posing for 5 hours to get that one shot, how you're eating and then your food gets cold and it's not even enjoyable. I mean, when we get to that part, we've strayed very far away from the original intention, which I think for the most people, I will say, it usually comes from a pure heart of genuinely wanting to do something. And then you get blinded by the light because you're chasing that fame or whatever. The dollars or whoever. And I'm not saying these things aren't important. We have a very interesting dichotomy with Jupiter being in Leo, being about expansion, and then that South Node in Leo, which is basically the polar opposite. So there's simultaneously something in Leo where we're striving towards that, but also letting something go. And I do think in its highest form, this really is about actually letting go that ridiculous performance that is a mask that you're unconsciously wearing. That is all about secretly, you're actually just wanting to be liked. And you're not even liking yourself and who you're becoming. And you're just hanging around these people when it's not actually what you truly want to do. Your nervous system doesn't even feel great about it. Letting go of that and getting back to that core essence, to that weirdness. That's that North Node in Aquarius. That's the ideal way where you should be heading. Letting out your inner weirdo and realizing I'm a flawed human being, and actually people like me because I am kind of flawed. And that's what people want to see more of. If your leadership, your spotlight, if you are put in a position where you do have more of that, because not everybody is put in that position, but if you have the privilege, and I'm going to really use that word, if you have the privilege of being put into such a position, how are you using that? Are you using that from a place of it being self-serving? Or are you using that from a place of wanting to serve the greater community and humankind? And I don't think there's like a specific right answer, because there's a whole conversation that can happen right now around is it wrong to be self-serving? And I don't think it is. I don't think that what you do should only ever serve the collective, and you should ignore yourself or you should ignore your ego. That's not what I'm saying. But there should be a beautiful mix and match that is happening. Because what you're contributing actually genuinely beneficial for the collective? That's what I like to ask myself, practically with everything that I do. And of course, I do things for myself, just simply for the joy, because I can do it. And sometimes I also, if I have spare cash, I'm like, yes, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to treat myself. But I don't go on the internet to flaunt it. Like, that's just, I think we're really, really over that. Like, that's out. Of course, Aquarius can be a different type of performatism, where people are performing charity, people are performing on social media, being like, look at how good I am, sending all my money to this charity, and then the next day they're revoking it and whatnot. That's like, we also don't want to get into that realm. See, the both of the nodes are about extremes. And ideally, you're aware that they are extremes, and you try to find like a balance to kind of like go between them. And they're the lunar nodes. Let's not forget that, and the moon rules over the realm of fate and fortune, which is always constantly going up and down, right? The nodes have to do with increase and decrease, increase and decrease. And that's why I kind of love them as a life philosophy in general, because we are going to be pulled into extremes regardless. That's just kind of how life works. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's about how consciously you are engaging with when you know something. When something comes up and you have a realization, how consciously are you engaging with reality after that point? I'm just pausing because I'm wondering, where should I take this next, and if there is something that I should be taking it next to. The realm of fate and fortune is one that you inherently have to be detached to, because life has this one, okay, let me put it this way, one quote that I really like to remind myself when there's eclipse season chiming around the corner is, fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling. There's a higher intelligence, even higher than all the teachers and coaches and whatever people you look up to, that is guiding them to. The guru of my parents used to say something that is, the force that guides the stars guides you too. And that's even beyond astrology. The realm of astrology under archetypes is that physical realm. That's the realm of fate and fortune. But above that, the force that moves the planets, that is the one where all of that becomes irrelevant. There's no archetypes, there's no duality, there's just oneness. And that force, in a way, is like, okay, it's nice, it's there, but sometimes it's like not really useful for our day-to-day life, because we are bound to the realm of fate and fortune right now. I feel like that's the realm where we return to, and sometimes we get glimpses of it, but inherently we are bound to that realm of fate and fortune, and things going up and down and up and down. And it requires a certain detachment, because all the experiences you have are yours, and at the same time, they're also not yours. Your soul is a vessel, your body is a vessel that your soul is inhabiting. And that's maybe my Aquarian philosophy. I have my natal Jupiter in Aquarius, so excuse me that I'm not trying to be biased myself here either. But it has just incredibly helped me to practice like healthy detachment, where I'm like, none of it is like personal, really. Like, I for some reason got chosen to be the person that is spreading that knowledge, so let me take that. But I'm not attached to my role as an astrologer. I'm not attached to the role that I was assigned, because I know that at any moment a new door could be opened and there's a new identity that I could step into. And if I'm being called to, I'm going to let fate, take me. I'm going to let fate lead me, because I want to be willing. I don't want to be dragged. I don't want to be unwilling when fate comes knocking at my door, because there is a higher intelligence guiding all of that. I'm just going to follow the breadcrumbs, because the next one is revealed. Okay, I'm going to go there. I don't know what the final outcome of this is, but I'm going to go there because the breadcrumb is being revealed. So let me take that next step. Let me take that next step of fate. The rest, damn, I don't know. Like, I can sit here and try to curate my life and try to manifest my life. And there's like an intelligence to that as well. Like, our brains are actually that powerful for sure. And at the same time, I also don't freaking know at all. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. But what I can teach you is practicing healthy detachment. And you coming back to yourself and how you can build a relationship to that force. Because that's what most people struggle with, if we're being completely honest. We're struggling to accept there's a higher intelligence guiding all of that through us. And that, like, in a very Leo fashion, we are the chosen ones in some regards. And it's really not like this grand thing of like, oh, this is your purpose and you're chosen. Gosh, this is why I really dislike doing astrology readings where I tell you your purpose, because I believe there's many purposes that you have in life, and depending on where you are in your life, there's a different purpose you might be stepping into right now. So everything is constantly shape-shifting and moving. But if you're picked by an inspiration and that there is something that is speaking specifically to you, there's a reason why that is happening. And we can go all the way back to childhood, that's like Jupiter and Leo wisdom right there. Go back to childhood, because I guarantee you, things that you did as a child that brought you joy are probably the things you should also be following as an adult, that you're good at. You just kind of forgot. And maybe that's that moment of the eclipse where you felt like you were a moth to the flame. Because sometimes when we're adults, we just completely forget what life is all about. And it's like, oh, as a kid, I actually just naturally liked doing that. Like, it just came naturally to me, maybe as a kid, to connect to other people. Or it came naturally to me as a kid to make up all these stories in my head. Now I want to become an author. Or it just came naturally to me to save money. Sorry, I'm just talking about my brother here. And I'm constantly telling him, like, get into investment or get into something that, like, has to do with money, because you were amazing at that when you were a kid. So all of that is like a revelation to us. And sometimes we just need to look close and get back to that, because the wisdom lies in that. So much. I swear, guys, I am so in awe sometimes that everything has already been revealed to us, and it's us that it keeps forgetting that. It's oftentimes us that we keep forgetting that. Truly. I sometimes look back to a time in my life, and that was when Saturn was actually in Aquarius, by the way, and Jupiter was also in Aquarius. I had my Jupiter return. And that's when I started to learn more astrology. And that's where I found, Jupiter talks about these gurus and teachers. And so that was a time where I was like deeply in studying astrology and everything. And some other things like life philosophies. And it was like an extremely, extremely lonely time. Let me actually just, excuse me, sorry. Woo. I hope my audio was okay. See, nobody freaking calls me, but right now somebody called me. Fate is calling me. maybe that's a synchronicity for you guys. If fate is calling you, pick it up. Pick it up. Pick up. I'm not gonna pick up right now, but regardless, maybe that's synchronicity. Okay, where was I? Just threw me off. Where was I? Oh yeah, at that time where I was studying, and it was actually a very incredibly lonely time of my life. And yet I had full trust and faith that this will yield to something. There was a time where I thought I was also cursed by my knowledge and that it will yield to nothing. But at that time, I was convinced that I'm learning this for some reason, that it's going to be applicable later on in my life. And I don't know yet how. Right now, I have no freaking clue. But it's going to make sense one day. And now it is. Now it's making so much sense. Some years offer questions and some years answer. And it's different for everyone. But everything is leading you to your next step and your next purpose in your life. These tidbits, the universe is talking to us. I was listening to a lot of people during that time that were way older than me. Michael Singer was a profound teacher for me during that time. Esther Perel was a profound teacher to me during that time. Tosha Silver was a profound teacher for me during that time. And then my astrology teachers, Chris Brennan and Adam Alamus from Nightlight Astrology. And a lot of these people, not all of them, but a lot of them made it way later in life. And that was during my closing Saturn square, where I really, and a lot of people have that when they're going to their closing Saturn square. That's the beginning of your 20s, around like 21, 22, 23. It's when you have your closing Saturn square. It's when Saturn is 4 signs apart from your natal Saturn and it's squaring it. before, like that's the period before you get your Saturn return. And you can like really feel so old during that time. Gosh, that period by far was so much harder than my Saturn return right now. And I was really grappling. I was feeling so ancient. I was really grappling and feeling like I don't have enough time. I screwed this up. Like I don't like the decisions that I made in the first part of my life. And what was I thinking? What was I thinking hanging out with these people and doing these things? Gosh, like what is going on? And I was getting so rigid about my routines. And I really was feeling like 100-year-old grandpa, waking up, doing my physical exercises, going on a walk, trying to reintegrate back into society for work reasons, going to sleep at 10 p.m. And yet it was such a deeply profound time where I was learning so much. And for me, it was really this feeling of I needed to hear from these people that you can make it way later in life, because that's probably going to be extremely relevant for me. And I need to hear it right now where I'm feeling kind of hopeless and depressed. Basically, it was almost like a, gosh, well then I guess I'm going to have to keep on living because my life is only going to get so sexy when I'm 60. Oh gosh, sorry. I have my Gemini moon in my 8th house. I always need to bring humor to these darker topics in life. That's what helped me stay alive back then. But it was really just such a like, okay, gosh, that I guess I have to just keep on living. Like I cannot leave this realm because because things are only going to get revealed then. So I need to keep on living to find out. And now life is obviously so different, and I have so many reasons to keep on living and stay alive. And it's not even crossing my mind, you know, like I'm so incredibly fulfilled that I'm just like living out at least the purpose that I have right now in my life, which is talking about all of this and bringing forward these nuggets that somehow just get downloaded to me. And I'm just speaking it out to you. But it all came from a time where things weren't making a lot of sense, and I just needed to trust, believe, and have faith that it will one day. That it will one day. And I'm so glad that I can sit here right now and tell this to you. And it's making me emotional because I really needed these people at that time. And if I can be that person for you right now, I will be incredibly glad to be that person for you right now. If you're in such a phase in your life, just telling you that it will make sense one day. What you're going through will make sense one day. And you're even going to be able to create your purpose from that. And you're going to be able to guide other people through things that you have gone through. And you're going to feel so much more fulfilled than in that time where you were incredibly lost. And hopefully you can pass it on. And that's how it works. That's how it works, guys. We keep on passing it on to the next generation. And even though there's so many people before me that came to these same conclusions, to the same realm, 200 years before me, for some reason it's important right now that I'm telling this to you. Because it's going to be an echo to 200 years from now, to someone. Who knows how the world will look then. I'll be forgotten. You'll be forgotten. But you will keep passing that down. And that knowledge and that wisdom is not going to be forgotten. This is like really coming straight from the heart. So if there's anything I can do is that I hope to bring you to remembering. To bring you to remembrance. And to make you realize that everything is always being revealed to you. Sometimes we just need to look more closely. And you see things clearly for what they are, who they are, as they are. I feel like with this, we're also kind of coming towards the end of this video. It feels like what needed to be shared just came out and was important. Leo, the sun, this like very constant force as an archetype in our solar system that is very steady, that rises and sets every day. We often take it for granted, but the sun is a very steady force. And the sun is about legacy. And right now with Jupiter there, it's about what is the philosophy? What is the legacy of your philosophy that you're leaving behind for the collective, for Aquarius? I hope with this video I could contribute to that in some way, shape, or form. And I hope that this is what I can continue to do and to bring forth a lot more of my own philosophies, because that's what I realized over these past few days, guys, is that I've been sharing a lot of my knowledge and I love doing that, but I feel like I need to reveal a lot more of myself here as well and where all that came from. So you know, where it came from. So you know it just didn't happen out of nowhere. There's life stories behind that. There's things I've went through. There's ways that I have been born into this world where I want to share more of that with you, so that you know what I'm about, but not even what I'm about, why I am the way that I am, why I am about what I am about. So there's probably going to be more of that. I want to weave in a lot more stories, which I do occasionally. It's not like the first time, but I want to weave in even more stories because I think these are incredibly helpful and they have certainly been incredibly helpful for me. I always love, if you're somebody that also watches Adam's channel, because I know some of you do, I'm pretty sure some of you even found this channel because of Nightlight Astrology. One of my favorite segments used to be how is it called? I'm forgetting the name right now. But Adam did a segment around, taking all these stories that people shared and then just having like a video sharing stories of how people were living through the transits and like real life examples, because for me that is useful. I love teaching astrology, don't get me wrong. And I hope that one day I can really also create like a resonance school or whatever. It's a bit out into the future because at that point I need a team. That is not something I can do on my own. But I hope at some point that I can really create a sort of like school where you can come and I can teach you. And I can teach you all these things and pass it down. That's really what I want to do. I really see that kind of as my mission here. And the way that I teach astrology, I also think is a bit more unique because I really want you to build a connection to the planets and have a relationship with them. I don't want you to walk away with just having more knowledge in your head. Because screw that. Like, so what does knowledge in your head bring you if you cannot embody, if it doesn't help you be a greater human being for yourself and for the people around you in your real life? And if I'm not teaching astrology that way and it's helping you do that, then I'm not doing something right. And you can call me out on that, please. God damn. So once that happens in the future, I hope you'll still be around. It's going to be so interesting if 5 years from now somebody finds that video and is just like, oh damn, look at what happened to Mia. So we'll see where the future heads. But I'm so grateful that you're here right now. There's already so many things that changed when I started this channel. And I feel like I'm just the start of a great vision that came to me when Jupiter was in Aquarius. Now I'm in my Jupiter position. Jupiter is in Leo now. And it's about long-term sustainable growth. Nothing fast. I don't want you to quantum leap, guys. I want you to have sustainable growth that is a lived experience that you can integrate, where your nervous system feels safe and comfortable doing so. So yeah, let's get to the very final segment. I want to pull some cards again. You guys seem to like that, so I'm going to continue doing that because it's actually also fun for me. And today I'm feeling called to pull from a deck called I Am Queen Oracle. I got this for my birthday from a dear friend, by the way. And this tarot deck is from Oti Harma, by the way. No AI used in this. We love that. And I really haven't even used that deck a lot. But I'm just wondering, and by the way, It doesn't matter if you're a guy. This can still be applicable. We're just going to talk about that queen energy in your life. And look at this. It's gold. It's shimmering. Guys, this is so Jupiter and Leo. I love that. This couldn't be more fitting. And so let's look at what queen energy the collective... Okay. Way too many cards came out right now. Way too many cards. But maybe we need all three of them. I don't know. Maybe we need all three of them. Guys, I'm not sure. Gosh. I know that some of you will hate me if I put this back into the deck. But I haven't really shuffled this deck so much, so... Okay, but let's maybe get a fourth one, and then we'll decide from there. So what collective queen energy does collective need here right now? Let's get this one. I am going to start with that one, and then we're going to go over the three that fell out. I'm going to read what is here. Okay, the first one we have is Queen of Intuitive Knowing. See, I intuitively knew that I have to shuffle this deck. Again. Okay. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay, within you resides a profound wisdom that transcends rational thought, an intuitive knowing that speaks directly to your soul. This inner voice is often called a gut feeling because it usually arises from your body. The Queen of Intuitive Knowing embodies the essence of this inner wisdom, knowing how to listen and pay attention to whispers of intuition that arise within. She listens deeply to the guidance of her inner voice, trusting in her innate body's wisdom to navigate life's journey. Finding her within, take a moment to connect with your intuition. Notice the sensations within your body when you tune into your intuitive knowing, paying attention to the feelings of clarity, resonance, and alignment that accompany this inner guidance. When in your life have you listened to this voice and followed it? How did that voice arise in you, and what were its qualities? Follow those hints and find the connection with the Queen of Intuitive Knowing in you. And once again, it can also be the King of Intuitive Knowing. But I would say it's maybe more applicable to that like feminine aspect of us, which is not gendered. Everybody has both of it in us. Her gifts. Invite the Queen of Intuitive Knowing to guide you in listening to your inner voice. Trust in the wisdom that arises from within, even when it may seem at odds with rational thought or external opinions. Sometimes your mind can get stuck in a fearful loop, making it hard to think clearly and disconnecting you from your inner knowing. Cultivate a practice of deep listening and reflection to strengthen your connection with your intuition. Harness the power of this queen by following her guidance in your daily life. Allow your intuition to inform your decisions and actions, trusting that it will lead you towards greater clarity and the most authentic you. You guys already know what I'm going to say. This is Leo energy. Embrace the profound wisdom within you, knowing that the light of your intuitive knowing always guides you. You are the Queen of Intuitive Knowing. Okay, that last sentence, I love that. Embrace the profound wisdom within you, Jupiter and Leo, knowing that the light of your intuitive knowing always guides you. Sorry guys, this is like making me emotional again, but it's so true. So incredibly freaking true. And this is what I sincerely wish for all of you guys to connect to that. I'm not going to read through the other cards. I'm just going to tell you what the queens were. Because they're all like, you know, it's like 19, 18, 17. I haven't really shuffled that deck so much. So it doesn't feel right. But we have the Queen of the Unapologetic. I can totally see how that makes sense with Leo. Then we have the Queen of Shapeshifting. 100%. That's Uranus and Gemini right now. Also chiming in, asking us, what is true knowledge? What does it mean to actually know something? And then Queen of Creating Beauty, which feels so fitting for Venus just moving into the sign of Libra. By the time the eclipse is happening, Venus will be in the sign of Libra. And that is just beautiful. So I'm not going to read for these three, but take what resonates. I'm going to put these images up here so you can kind of sift and simmer into them. Actually, by the way, let me do this way. Pick a card reading. No, if one of these resonates, just send me a mail. If it actually deeply resonates with you, send me a mail. Which one of these resonates with you? Or DM me through Instagram. And I'll tell you, I'll send you the meaning of that. But for right now, it feels like the Queen of Intuitive Knowing was the most important one to come up here, which also makes very much sense to me because that solar eclipse in Leo is happening. That solar eclipse in Leo is happening and is influenced by, or no, let me put it this way. Mars is moving into Cancer just one day before that solar eclipse, and Mars is in the realm of Cancer, so the moon, and it's influenced directly by the solar eclipse in Leo. So our whole drive, where we want to go towards in life, is immediately questioned. And I feel like that is that Queen of Intuitive Knowing. Because intuitively, you will know. You will know. We always know. The illusion is that we create about not knowing, that we pretend that we are not knowing. Our body is not lying to us. Our intuition is not lying us. Trauma is. I will say that. But we're talking about intuition here, not trauma. I feel like everything is so obvious, and yet we keep on pretending. You know, someone once told me the difference between intuition and knowledge, intuition and trauma is that trauma feels like there's millions of voices in your head telling you should be doing that, blah, blah, blah. And like your head is really active and you're feeling like panicked about it. Intuition, true intuition is like the first day of kindergarten where your grandmother is your grandmother is taking you to kindergarten, like taking your hand and gently just guiding you. Because what else would be happening? That's intuition. And that's kind of the difference here. Where you can know, is it my trauma speaking or is it my intuition actually guiding me? And then you can go into the realm of discernment and knowing that these people that you follow, are you following them from like some sort of trauma on putting them on a pedestal? Or is it because you actually discern and you're like, no, this feels intuitively right in my body to follow that person, to learn from that person, to get a reading from that person, to gain knowledge and wisdom from that person. So yeah, this is what I'm sending you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I have such deep love and appreciation for every single one of you. I'm sending you all Queen energy. I'm sending you all the energy of the intuitive Queen of knowing. And this is all what I have for now. Thank you so much for being here. If this video resonated with you, make sure to leave a thumbs up in this weird world where these things matter. It is incredibly amazing if you could leave a thumbs up and leave a comment because it helps out the algorithm and getting it to people that might also find this useful and benefit from that sharing and that knowledge. So if you do that, I sincerely heart you. It means a lot to me if you do that. And other than that, I'm obviously also always curious just about your experience. Like, don't comment for me if you do incredibly nice, but also I'm curious about your experience and what you're going through because that's what I read. So leave it from that space. Thank you so much. I'm sending you much, much love. Just one or two big smooches this time around, and we're going to talk to each other very soon. Bye for now.